Hi, everybody. I have been gone for quite a minute, but I am back now and I have had a very productive break off. I was using the time to really intensely go over my strategy and I've finalized it. I've really made it something that when I get into a trade, I feel confidence and I know that my strategy is working for me and I don't have to make these emotional decisions. My emotions actually don't really have much space in the trading that I'm doing. So that has been really helpful and the results have been fantastic. And so I am going to definitely be making a video about my strategy and the details of it. That video is going to be very intense. I'm going to start today with a recap of the past week of trading. I ended up making just under $1,000 this past week. I made $994 to be exact. In the past week, I only took 8 trades, and my stats on the week are something I'm very proud of. So I'm going to share with you guys this past week of trading, how I was able to profit 1,000 or just under $1,000 this week, and share with you the information that I gleaned from the past week and what I'm going to be implementing into the coming week. Let me know how you guys are doing in these market conditions. I know it's really wild out there. So let me know how you are operating, if you're having a good time, if you're finding it hard to profit, if you're having the best trading of your life. Just let me know. You guys have such interesting perspectives on trading, and I love to hear it. So just let me know what you guys are up to. All right, let's go ahead and look at the trades. All right, you guys, here is the past week of trades for me. We're talking Monday, June 1st, 2026 to Friday, June 5th, 2026. First, I just want to say that these stats I am so happy with, and they're very repeatable for me and my strategy. So this wasn't like I had one good week of trading and I'm showing you that and cherry picking it. My strategy lends itself to the sustainability of this week's stats. Like this week's stats is a good example of what every week can be like for me. In fact, I have ways that notes from this past week that kind of show how I could have quite easily, with just subtle switches, made a little more money. But whatever, I'm still very happy with these stats, and I'm going to go over them with you guys and go over a few of the trades that I took to kind of show you what kind of trades I am taking to get stats like this. We'll start with the profit. We made $994 this week, took 8 trades. My win percentage rate, or my accuracy, was 62.5%. My goal is to be above 60% each week. So this was acceptable. This was quite good. So then we have the profit factor 3.37. That is very high, and I'm very happy with that. 75% win rate. Average win to loss trade is 2.02. So love to see that. And as you can see on this like bar graph, what I like to see is that these losses are small. The wins are much bigger than the losses. That's kind of the bread and butter of my strategy, is that the accuracy is not going to be extremely high, but my profit factor is going to be quite high. So it makes up for a more medium accuracy. I also want to say that I never get Zealous scores that are, or I used to never get Zealous scores that were over 70. So I'm happy I have a passing Zealous score. I don't even really know. I know it's like kind of laid out here, but I don't pay attention to this, honestly. I more so pay attention to my raw stats, or my raw data that create these stats up here. So we had the start of the month, or the start of the month, because this was the start of the week on the first. We had a win, and that was really great. What I look for in each trade is every time I enter a trade, I'm looking for $300 and I'm risking 120. Now that's if I enter at the right point in my trade. If I enter too early, sometimes I usually enter early. I err on the side of entering early than late. Then I can make a little more money. If I enter late, I'm going to make less money. I'm going to make less money and I'm going to risk more money. If I enter early, I'm going to make more money and risk less money. So entering early is one of the things you're going to see me do a lot. So I first day made $330, and let's take a look at that exact trade and I'll show you why I got into it. It's a pretty classic trade to show you an example of my strategy. So let's look at that. Okay, here we are. We're looking at micro gold futures. That is the only thing that I trade these days. So anytime I'm talking about trading, just know I'm trading micro gold futures. I currently trade one contract. So everything that I'm going to be showing you in this video is going to be for one contract of micro gold futures. The moment I can afford to, I will, well, with a buffer, with probably like a $500, $600 buffer in my account, I will be scaling up to two contracts and then my profits will be doubling and my losses will be doubling as well. With my strategy, I look for breaks of structure on the 4-hour time frame, and then I will take an entry, whether it's a long break or a short break. So when Monday started, we had this previous structure right here in this orb, okay? I would consider the low of this green candle to be a low. And if we broke this, I would be interested in a sell. Okay, this structure was created on May 28th. Then we had May 29th, we came up, we grabbed liquidity above here. But where we are at is the 1st, June 1st. Okay, so price is coming back down the night of June 1st or the early morning of June 1st. Okay, we're retracing back to this area. Okay, so in the early morning, price dumps and breaks past this area, but I'm asleep. I have no trade hours from 11 p.m. until 8 a.m. That is at least for the first break of structure. Sometimes price will do what it did on this Monday and it breaks this structure. That's what I'm going to call an A break. Just means the first time price broke the structure. So we have an A break. I'm asleep when this is happening, so I'm not taking this trade. I woke up and price was above this level again. Okay. Once price was above this level, in my mind, if we come back to the breaking point, this low of this green candle, then it qualifies me for or qualifies the trade for a B entry. So there's only A's and B's. There's no C's, there's no D's. It's just an A. If an A entry fails, whether I took it or not, I am allowing myself to take a second entry. The second entries are very, very profitable. So these B trades are very profitable for me. So I was asleep when A happened, so I didn't participate. If I was awake, I would have taken it and I would have lost $120 if I entered at the perfect point. But what price did was by the time I woke up, we were above this entry point where the green line is. The green line is this A entry and B entry. Okay, this is the entry line. Whenever price, I'm going to move now that we know that this is the 4-hour break of structure, I'm going to move down to a smaller time frame just so we can see the details of time on this. We're going to go to a 15-minute time frame. So, where are we? We're right here. So, as we can see, early morning price drops below this this entry line right here. I would have been stopped out. You see how it just barely the tip of this candle right here breaks it. Well, we would have broken my stop loss. My stop loss for every trade right now, I have parameters set. I'll explain why these parameters are set to be a little different. But the standard for every trade that I enter, every break of structure on the 4-hour I enter, I am looking for $300 profit. But really, let me put it in a better way. I'm looking for 30 points of profit. And then I am risking 12 points. That's $120. So I risk 120 to make 300. But if I enter early on a trade like I did on this one, because I entered, let's see where the exact sell was. I entered here, right here. I entered right before price got back to this green line. As price is approaching this line, I enter in the anticipation of the break of the line. Because I entered 3 points early, I can adjust my parameters to add $30 profit because I'm looking for 30 moves of the break of structure, not 30 moves of whatever entry I end up taking. 30 moves from the ideal entry, the perfect entry. So if I enter early, that gives me more profit to take and less risk. If I enter late down here, that's less profit and more risk. So I opt for entering early. This trade ended up very quickly. I believe it was 20 minutes. It took 20 minutes to make $330. You can see I sold up here, shows you on that red line where my sell entry is, where my frame is. And then I bought down here, and this was pretty close to the end of the move, as you can see. The reason that I look to profit 30 points from the break of structure, and the reason that I risk 12 points from the break of structure is because I have back tested this enough to know that mathematically, when this strategy is taken enough times, it is profitable because price is usually looking for a zone of 30 points to grab once we break structure. And it usually is looking for to stay within a risk zone, a tolerance zone of $120. Now, does that happen every time? Absolutely not. But it happens enough of the time that I can make a profit. Sometimes price goes way further than 30 points, and I miss that. And sometimes it goes just short of 30 points. But on average, it is happening often enough to where I can reliably and sustainably have a profitable week using this strategy. So that is why I do the 30 to 12 point risk to reward ratio. All right, let's look at a loss that I took because those are just as important as the wins. Let's look on this day. We had a $121 loss, and I'll go ahead and break that down for you guys. Okay, here is that loss. I'm going to show you why I entered the break of structure on this trade. So where the green line is my entry zone. I actually had an exact entry on this trade, so I didn't enter early, didn't enter late. So I was looking for exactly 30 points, and I was also looking for I was also risking exactly 120 points. So you can see price is, moving down here. It's moving up. It's moving down. We go up, down. Right here in this zone is where I had marked an entry. Now, there was plenty of trades in what I just went over. That's just not the trade I'm going through. I wasn't just waiting for this one moment. As you can see with these arrows, there were lots of trades taken in here. I'm looking for the breaks of structure, like I mentioned before. So this would be a break of structure down here, a break up here, a break of this. This green candle for me marked a break of structure if we passed it. So here's what I did. This trade was so close to being a profitable trade. It was over halfway to my profit zone, but it didn't quite make it, and it ended up stopping me out. So I'm going to show you what happened on the smaller time frame, okay? All right, here is the trade on the smaller time frame. So you can see the entry zone is this green line. We're risking up to this yellow line here, 120, and price only went down to here. This was a short. So I sold right at this green line. Price comes down. This is my profit zone 300 right here. I'm looking for the break of this. It doesn't quite make it. We come up, we're stopped out. That's fine. I'm showing you this loss because I'm showing you that it's just a system. And I made $994 this week. And there were multiple trades like this, multiple losses where it doesn't work out every time, but it works out often enough to where the 300 wins wipe out those $120 losses quite easily. So this was just a by the book trade. It followed my exact strategy. There was nothing wrong about it. This was kind of an example of an appropriate loss, and I want to make sure I show those so that it's not cherry picking my trades for you. The rest of the week we had plenty of wins and a few more losses as well. You can see my stats up here. 75% of the time I was winning. Or no, that's 75% of the days I ended green. 62.5% of the time I was accurate. Friday was a really big day for me. I took 3 trades. One was basically a break even trade, so we can ignore that. What makes a break even trade for me, because as I told you, I risk 12 points to make 30 points every time. But when price comes down to $240, once we're in profit, $240 up or down, does as long as we're in my favor, $240 in a long or in a short, I will move my stop to break even at that point. So some of the trades will be break even. That's the only way my strategy allows for variation of risk. So we had a break even trade on Friday, and then we had a successful early entry. It was 2.1 points early, so I made $321 instead of $300. And then another thing I want to go over. Okay, so this last trade, 449, that's clearly more than 30 points. So it's actually 44.9 points. I looked for around 50 points. So there's another qualifier to this. And I'm not even, this isn't even a strategy video, but I just want to express clearly what's going on. So most of my trades are trades within a range. I would group all of this as being within a range. I would mark out, I'll show you what I would determine the range to be in this zone. Exit out of this. So this zone between these two green lines, I call a consolidation zone. And when price breaks out of this zone, I look for 45 points on my trade rather than 30 points because typically the moves are larger when we break this zone. There's a lot of volatility when we break this zone. So that's why on Friday you see that I have a $449 trade. I looked for 45 points, which would have been $450 even, but it cost a dollar to take the trade. So that's why sometimes you see things being off by a dollar or something. It's because it costs a dollar to take the trade. So that is my week of trading. I am super happy with my results. I am really looking forward to the market opening. Right now it's 4:48 on Sunday, June 7th. So I the market's going to open in about a little less or a little over an hour. So I'm looking forward to another really positive week of trading. I will be sure to recap that for you guys throughout the week or at the end of the week. And I will be making a video about my strategy as well that's a lot more detailed. This was just meant to be kind of an introduction to my week of trading, where I'm at currently. But that strategy video will be coming soon. And let me know how you guys are doing. I already said that, but I really mean it. I am just so astonished that this little channel has been such a wonderful place for such wonderful people to be so encouraging and loving and kind. And I just want you to know I really support you in your trading journey. Let me know where you're at. And yeah, just thank you. So, with that, I wish you guys a good week of trading, and I'll see you next time. Bye.